Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. The room looks friendly, like a cafe dressed as a meeting. A loud manager taps his slides and pleads for buy-in. He promises benefits, sprinkles praise, begs for alignment. The crowd nods, then checks their phones. Across from him, a calm operator says 12 words. Deadline Friday, 4 p.m. Checklist posted. Only signed checklists ship. He tapes the list beside the door. He circles the sign-off line. No drama, no speech. People rise from their chairs and start assigning tasks. The air hardens from chatter into motion. Courts, not campfires. The room moves for the person who posts the rule, not the person who performs the sermon. This is the first cut-through illusion. Ideas decorate, incentives decide. You do not charm people into execution. You price behavior in the office. A posted late submission fee beats 5 motivational talks. At home, devices off the table or dessert waits 15 minutes. Changes posture faster than 3 lectures about family time. With friends, texts answered at noon and 5 ends midnight. Panic with no resentment. Praise is cheap and leaves no bruise when ignored. Penalties and rewards, visible and certain, steer hands and calendars. Once the cost of missing is real and the prize for hitting is immediate, even the stubborn become practical. The steering wheel is consequence, not charisma. Consider 3 quick mirrors. Workplace. A teammate drifts through deadlines until the next sprint. Enforcers miss once, lose the microphone next demo. He prepares, family chores float until a chart pays points that convert to screen time. The kitchen turns efficient by Tuesday. Social, a group chat demands constant replies. You impose windowed responses and pin the rule. Chaos fades because the map has tolls and gates. Obedience is not a mood. It is a route with prices. So stop trying to talk people into gravity. Build it. The engine for instant obedience is not rage. It is architecture. 3 gears. Signal, scarcity, sequence. Signal first. Signals announce the law of the room before anyone performs. Arrive 3 minutes early. Start exactly on time. End exactly on time. Post the checklist where eyes land first. Define 1 decision, 1 owner, 1 date. Convert every handshake into a 1-line email within an hour. These moves say, this house has rails. People don't need your speech when the walls speak for you. Scarcity next. Scarcity raises attention. Limit access tiers, office hours twice daily, meeting slots capped, scope changes routed by form. When everything about you is available, nothing about you is valued. Your yes becomes expensive because your calendar is gated. Urgency pays a toll to enter. You will be accused of being cold. Translate that accusation. Consistent. People trust schedules that keep their promises more than faces that break them softly. Sequence last. Order beats volume. Decide, document, discuss. Lead with the verdict tied to the rule. Send the minutes, then take questions inside the box. After every room, leave behind 1 metric, 1 date, 1 owner, no monologues, no bargaining after the document ships. Sequence turns hesitation into motion because it converts talk into tracks. The loud manager in the cafe keeps begging for traction, while the calm operator posts the next stone in the path and steps onto it. Others follow because the stone holds. None of this is cruelty. It is mercy for rooms drowning in intentions. Architecture removes the burden of guessing. People relax into momentum when the price of ignoring the rule is certain and the reward for obeying it is near. You will feel it in your own chest. Fewer arguments, shorter meetings, cleaner outcomes. You will speak less and accomplish more because your structure speaks first. Here is the conversion. Stop selling belief. Start pricing behavior. Signal the rule. Protect access. Enforce the order. Do it quietly and immediately. Let consequence carry the weight you were wasting on persuasion. Obedience will look sudden to them, but you will know what you built. Position, timing, scarcity, cost. Build it once, collect it daily. Post the rule, price the route, and the room will move. Appearances can rent a crowd, only rules keep a city. Charisma is rent, not title. Charm collects eyes for minutes. Enforcement organizes hands for months. You can electrify a room with a smile and still lose the quarter to a calendar you do not control. watch the split. A charismatic manager begs for one last push, praises spirit, promises pizza. The sprint still drifts because nothing changed on the board. Another manager issues a one-page policy, scope locks Wednesday at noon, every blocker has a named owner, and the Friday demo happens whether beautiful or ugly. People complain, then comply, because rails beat speeches. De-glamorize personality worship. Use presence to announce the rules, not to replace them. In sales, your story warms the lead. The order form with refund terms secures cash. In hiring, a speech attracts candidates. A written scorecard fixed panel and turnaround SLA protect fairness from panic. In community work, the microphone fills chairs. The sign-up sheet with slots, caps, and accountability keeps the lights on after the applause dies. Let inspiration open the door. Let policy decide who enters, how long they stay, and what they owe. Now the theater of over-explanation. Long speeches leak power. Every extra sentence is a new surface to attack, and a new road to delay. Over-explaining invites debate on trivia while deadlines slide. Replace poetry with one-page decisions. Scope, owner, date. 10 lines beat 10 slides. Decision, ship one without feature X. Rationale, sell a risk. Owner, Maya. Date the 20th of October. Next check the 24th of October. When asked for status at 11 p.m., send the line and the next checkpoint. No auditions for approval. No paragraphs that confess insecurity. Pre-frame the room so the page rules before bodies arrive. Circulate a pre-read 48 hours ahead naming the choice, the single metric and the deadline. Decide A or B by Friday. Success equals sign churn to 3.8% by month end. In the meeting, point to the frame and ask which path hits the number by the date. If talk wanders, return to the scoreboard. Frames choose which arguments count. Brevity keeps the frame intact. Practice with yourself. Write one sentence that would survive court, then speak only to that sentence. Kindness without edges trains lateness and scope creep. Unconditional warmth tells the room your time has no price and your patience has no end. Keep the warmth. Add the wall. The mechanic is simple: courtesy plus clock plus consequence. Courtesy keeps tone clean. Clock defines the window. Consequence moves behavior without shouting. Happy to review the deck? Send by 3 p.m. Notes 10:30 tomorrow. After 3 it rolls to Friday's batch. Glad to include the extra report. It's 6 hours at the standard rate, delivery Monday. Feel the difference. The request turns from air into cost. Install edges everywhere. Publish ad hoc office hours 2/3, 4 and guard them like budget lines. Create scope fences. I review up to 10 slides. Deeper edits are build or move to next sprint. Rotate chores so gratitude doesn't become servitude. With friends, trade endless availability for scheduled presence. Weekly call 40 minutes, no phones. Some will call you less nice. Smile, you became legible. Finally, the quiet that surrenders. Timid hush invites defiance. Strategic silence collects tribute. The crowd cannot see your inner calm. They only see whether your quiet stands on law. Use silent signal plus visible policy. Ignore the person, enforce the rule. Online, a clipped smear circulates. You wait 24 hours while you gather proof. Then you post one impersonal note linked to your standing policy. We correct false claims once evidence below. Repeat violators are blocked and reported. Provide receipts, tag institutions, and pivot to a scheduled win already on your calendar. Your hush had a clock. Your voice had a blade. In the office, block 10:12 for deep work and put the policy in your signature. When someone books across it, decline with a template. Focus block 10:12, propose after 2. If they press route through your manager with the policy attached. With vendors, speak through allocation. A payment slips, rush favors stop, tickets move to the back, and your reply is the invoice plus the clause they signed. If they pay, the wheel turns. If not, exit cleanly and reclaim capacity. Silence is not absence. It is pressure applied by schedule, budget, and process. Thread these mechanics into 1 week and watch your rooms change shape. Monday, charisma opens the stand-up. The policy closes it in 15 minutes with names on tasks. Tuesday, pre-reads go out. Arguments shrink because the frame arrived first. Wednesday, a quick favor hits your inbox. Courtesy plus clock plus consequence clears it without resentment. Thursday, a rumor rises. Your silent signal posts the rule, your proof lands once and you move on schedule. Friday, your one-page log compiles decisions, dates, owners, and next checks. People start coming prepared because the rules carry a cost. Do not wait for fairness to visit. Install it with rails. Do not hope sincerity will be felt. Bind it to checkpoints. Do not trust being liked to keep order. Write the order and keep it. Let your charm welcome people to the gate. Let your paper decide entry and price. If someone calls that cold, remember the sun is warm and still keeps time. This is not cruelty, it is hygiene. Charisma is rent. Policy is a deed. Explanation is air. Decisions are stone. Kindness is a festival. Edges are the city wall. Silence is a lake. Posted rules make it a reservoir. Build the wall, fill the reservoir, and date the deed so you can defend it when storms arrive. Walk the square as if you owned your hours, because you do once they are fenced. Speak less and publish more. Make every yes expensive, every no repeatable, and every silence legible. You will lose a few admirers who only loved your availability. You will gain allies who trust your clock. When applause fades, your rails will still be standing, and the work will glide over them like iron. Lead with presence, rule with paper, and let the clock keep your crown. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Power is not a costume for winning smiles. It is a discipline that survives weather. Your enemies rarely need better ideas. They need only to touch 3 nerves, praise, loss, and old shame, and watch you plead instead of rule. A sovereign without self-command becomes public property. Today you make your impulses expensive and your authority exact. Applause addiction is the first handle. You overtalk to be liked, overpromise to be adored, and stretch deadlines just to keep the lights on you. Flattery opens the gate, you carry out the treasure. A rival praises your vision, invites radical transparency, and asks for a friendly walkthrough of the next 2 quarters. You narrate dependencies, vendors, and the week you cannot slip. They leave with your calendar. Weeks later, they pressure your vendor, poach the role you announced, and time their release to your weakest window. You call it bad luck. It was choreography. They paid with compliments. You paid with your plan. Cut the string by swapping applause metrics for outcome metrics. Shipped, signed, settled. Shipped features and fixes released against written specs. Signed contracts executed with money scheduled, not imagined, settled. Disputes closed with receipts and dates. Tie your mouth to these rulers. Speak in ranges, not oaths. In constraints, not fantasies. In verbs, build, test, deliver, in rooms. Answer once and move the table to numbers. Online, post receipts, not forecasts. Respect must grow from results, not from performance. Rejection panic is the second lever. Fear of losing people turns leaders into generous petitioners. A client hints they are considering options. A partner sends a late-night need and answer tonight. A star employee threatens to walk. Your pulse writes policy. You grant discounts you cannot defend, carve exceptions that swallow your standards, and slide deadlines that once meant something. They were not buying your product. They were buying your panic at clearance prices. Install walk-away prices in a 24-hour cooling rule. In daylight, set floors for sovereignty. Minimum margin by product, maximum discount by tier, cap on any single client's share of revenue, limits on custom work, and the farthest you will drift from the roadmap. Write them. Drill them until your team can recite them under heat. In stormlight, obey the page, not your fear. Any demand beyond a floor triggers. Sleep once, decide once. No midnight signatures, no yes on borrowed adrenaline. If they walk, they were renting your confidence. If they stay, your terms just matured. Picture a distributor manufacturing urgency. 2 hours or the slot is gone. You send 2 packages above your floors and a morning check-in. At 9, they accept 1 without drama. Scarcity was theater, restraint priced the ticket. Frame kept, margin preserved. Humiliation echo is the third trap. An old slight, laughter in a hallway, a public correction, a stolen idea still lives like wire under your skin. Someone steps on it, and your tongue becomes artillery. You launch proving sprees, long rebuttals, and public debates you cannot win. The crowd gets a show, rivals get your map, your team gets cleanup, wounds right policy, and policy becomes spectacle. Install a 60-second ritual. Breathe, classify, choose proportion. Breathe 5 in, 5 out, twice, anchor your palm on wood or metal, and return to the room. Classify the source: fool, rival, or traitor. A fool is sloppy and hungry for attention. A rival is competent and hungry for position. A traitor breaks trust and wants your seat. Choose proportion. The fool gets silence or delegation to a smaller room. The rival pays a visible, fair cost in terms, deadlines, metrics, consequences, never in insults. The traitor loses access. Record, revoke, close. This ritual separates dignity from heat and makes misbehavior expensive for them, not for you. Belonging addiction completes the machinery. Crowds tempt you to trade standards for smiles. The after-event becomes a confessional. The group chat a slow leak, quick thoughts, an unpaid contract at midnight. To keep warmth alive, you grant free access, free previews, and soft yeses that bleed into your schedule. Competitors do not need spies when your loneliness writes the newsletter. Consensus looks like safety. It functions like a drain. Replace popularity with loyalty that compounds a small cadre bound by rules and receipts. Select 3 to 5 people who guard the mission over your mood. With them, strip the armor, risks, numbers, timelines, and doubts. With everyone else, be warm and finite. Publish your code, office hours, reply windows, decision gates, information tiers, consequences for leaks. If a request crosses the line, it waits for daylight or it dies. Access becomes a budgeted resource, not a public fountain. Loyalty grows where access is earned, metered, and renewed by delivery. See the choreography your opponents run. They bait applause to make you leak strategy. They stage urgency to wrench your clock. They prick old shame to make you perform. They host wide rooms so you confuse noise with alliance. None of this requires genius. It requires your predictability. When your pattern becomes quiet, priced, and slow, their bait rots on the line. Turn clarity into architecture. Begin each week with the private scoreboard, shipped, signed, settled, and schedule the days around those needles. Tape your floors where you negotiate. Keep the 60-second card in your pocket and rehearse until calm arrives on command. Give your cadre authority to call cooling time when compliments court timelines, when urgency begs for discounts, and when bruises beg for speeches. Reward teammates who defend the plan with silence and structure, not those who win applause with drama. Promote the operator who de-escalates bait on Tuesday and delivers margin on Friday. Modern scenes will test you. A journalist offers a glowing profile if you open the books. A marquee partner demands instant scope changes or we reconsider. A public slight begs for a triumphant thread. Decline the profile and publish a bland metric. Send the partner 2 options inside your rules with a morning deadline. For the slight, run the ritual, choose proportion, and return to outcomes. You will feel smaller in the moment. You will become larger in the ledger. Remember the law: strategy is a calendar wearing armor. If your hours are governed by applause, fear, and old shame, your enemies run your day. Put your law on the clock. Speak when it moves, shipped, signed, or settled. Say no when the price is your posture. Delay when your heart is loud. Decide when the numbers have earned your voice. The room will adapt to the cadence it cannot bend. You are not asked to be cold. You are asked to be exact. Exactness is mercy for the many and justice for the plan. Govern your needs and your signals will stop inviting exploitation. You will not be harder to love. You will be harder to move. That is the beginning of command and the end of being handled. Fewer words, slower deals, colder terms. Let outcomes rule your mouth. Power leaks where your wounds try to be loved. You make yourself available to every voice, every ping, every stare. It feels moral. It is surrender. When the ache in you runs the room, silence becomes fear, speech becomes spillage, and the record you create outlives your intentions. The leakage spiral begins at night. A jab lands. You open the app. One careful reply becomes 3 defensive threads, and a quick DM to clarify. Screens remember. Adversaries collect timestamps and tone shifts like shells on a beach. They arrange your words into a neat grid. Midnight, hotter; 2 a.m. harsher; 3 a.m. special exception. Neutrals circulate it quietly with the subject context. The dossier walks into rooms you haven't entered yet and speaks for you without mercy. Minutes of heat now purchase months of cost. The more you talk to feel better, the cheaper it becomes to make you talk. You try to regain control with more sound. A live session to explain the thread that explained the post. An emergency meeting to clear the air. A one-off waiver to quiet a critic. Each act soothes the sting and trains the crowd. They learn your nervous system better than your schedule. In Jung's language, the shadow, your hungry, unowned part, has the microphone. It wants relief, not order. It wants applause, not outcomes. You become a faucet others can open by choosing the time. Then, contradiction theater opens to please faces. You change standards midstream. In one room you promise speed. In another you promise caution. To a donor access. To the team boundaries. To the board, no slippage. To a client in your DMs, we'll make it right. Each vow makes sense alone. Together they collide. Deadlines slip because no calendar can obey contradictory gods. Invoices wobble because scope swells to purchase peace. Trust thins because people experience your kindness as volatility. This is not mystery, it is mechanics. A standard is a bridge. Move it while people are crossing and someone falls. You reverse a decision to soothe a loud account. The quiet accounts notice and raise their voices. You say just this once, and once multiplies. You approve today what you punished last month. The collective psyche beneath you adjusts to the real rule. Pressure wins. The adult meant generosity. The archetypal pleaser traded tomorrow for applause. Your team learns to wait for your second statement, the one that cancels the first. Work slows while everyone guesses which self will answer next. Modern rooms supply the parables. A founder rattled by a thread announces radical transparency, widens scope on stage, then shrinks it in Slack to save the sprint. Engineers ship smoke. An agency director grants an exception to keep a celebrity happy. Procurement observes and quietly tightens terms. A department head declares one standard, then answers late-night texts with special favors. By morning, managers enforce nothing because nothing seems to hold. Outcomes die by 1,000 compassionate edits. Alliance decay arrives like damp behind paint. Strong allies drift towards steadier leaders, not from malice, but because their teams cannot metabolize your mood. They need no to mean no without an after-hours sequel. A lieutenant who once defended your roadmap moves headcount to the quiet group whose promises fit their lungs. A partner who used your name to open rooms begins sending two options, yours and the calmer competitor, to be safe. They still admire your talent. They no longer risk their quarter on your nerves. Neutrals hedge. They add checkpoints and signatures, not because they enjoy friction, but because friction is insurance against your weather. Opportunists press harder. They learned your buttons from your feed, praise to extract favors, noise to extract exceptions. Your room becomes a revolving door of crises, each visitor arriving with the expression, "You're kind, you'll understand," and leaving with a piece of your leverage. Small flinches normalize. People schedule over you, CC over you, and translate you to one another as if you were not present. Rank rots when niceness outruns necessity. Underneath the turns is a simple psychology. Unmet needs, recognition, safety, belonging, masquerade as urgent decisions. The shadow whispers that peace today is worth any price tomorrow. It is not. Every soft boundary writes a commandment for your court. Make noise, get exceptions, stay quiet, pay retail. What was a culture of enchantment? Faith in the center decays into its shadow. Superstition. People ask the weather, not the plan. The organization becomes a mood ring. Then the institutional sentence lands. Committees are not therapists. They are managers of risk. They compress you into a line that flies through email at the speed of doubt. Talented, chaotic, nice but unenforceable, noisy, not necessary. The line is unfair and useful. Schedulers park you at 4:45. Lenders add covenants for prudence. Boards install communications support like training wheels for a rider they no longer trust to steer. You deliver cleanly twice, luck thrice, a phase. Only quarters of boring reliability make doubt more expensive than belief. Labels stick until they stop predicting the future. You cannot outtalk a label that saves other people time. You must make it costly to keep. That is not a speech. It is protocol. Build gates between heat and mouth. After 8 p.m., no public words. If provoked, write once, then sleep. A cold operator cuts 9 of 10 sentences and all self-story. Move updates into a single weekly form. 1 page, 1 chart, 1 next action, size to your worst day. Name 1 spokesperson in storms. Pre-declare the trigger and toll for reversals, so change is rare, paid, and trusted. Replace contradiction theater with frame practice. Lead with principle, scope, price, date. Say no early and whole. Say yes with edges. What's in, what's out. Who pays for change? Retire the rescue shop. Convert just this once into a change order with cost and time. Praise in public. Correct in private. Sanction without spectacle and record it. Where it binds, let your silence imply motion, not fear. Rebuild the coalition with certainty that compounds. Pay on time. Ship on the day. Speak once. Protect your calendar from crisis tourists. Give feeling a fixed room in the week so duty can own all others. Make allies famous for sleeping well. Make opportunists pay market rate for your attention. Teach neutrals that contracts, not charisma, govern your house. Minister to the wound, or it will minister to you. Sit with it in honest daylight. Name the fear that flares when you feel ignored or misunderstood. Let it be seen so it stops stealing the wheel at 1:37 a.m. Individuation is not poetry. It is plumbing, routing old floods away from the console of command and installing valves you can shut when weather turns. Over time, folklore fails. Midnight posts vanish. Exceptions shrink to signed slips. Dates land without ceremony. Deals survive turbulence because your rules hold under heat. Allies return because steady weather grows fruit. Neutrals stop hedging because hedging wastes hours against a leader who keeps promises small and kept. The label flakes off not because you argued with it, but because it stopped predicting the future. Kindness is not your enemy. Unguarded kindness is. Authority is not cruelty. It is containment. Let your heart be large and your mouth be narrow. Let your code be steel and your tone be human. Then the room learns the only lesson that matters. You are not moved by noise. You move and the room adjusts. Guard the center. Speak once, enforce quietly. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. You stop chasing devotion and start engineering obedience, not with tantrums, but with clocks and costs. Authority is math. People obey when they know 2 truths. Inside your order, benefit arrives quickly. Outside your order, penalty lands immediately. Publish those truths and keep them. Respect equals predictable benefit plus predictable cost. Benefit first, speed, clarity, access, delivered on schedule. You answer inside the window you posted. You decide in 1 paragraph and stamp it with a date. You bring the right people into 1 room at 1 time, not 10 threads of favors. A vendor submits a 1-page brief with data, risk, and a clear ask. You choose the same day, assign an owner, and lock a deadline. Now the cost. Violations pay in real time. Deprioritization, scope cuts, exits, late payment, work pauses until funds clear, plus the written fee. Miss the review window, your slot moves and your scope shrinks to what can be trusted. Public disrespect, access downgrades 1 tier for a cycle. You do not thunder, you invoice. The first enforcement teaches, the second makes memory. The third is rare because the market has learned your table has a price. Make immediacy visible. A stakeholder tries to sprint past the queue with panic. You point to the priority criteria and decide on the spot. Meets it, it moves. Doesn't, it waits. Another mails a rambling deck after the deadline. You acknowledge receipt and log it for the next cycle without drama. The room learns your frame rewards discipline and taxes noise, and it does both today. Shift from personality to policy. Personality begs, policy governs, translate values into rails. The timid can follow, and the bold cannot bend. Start with response windows. Priority channel in 4 hours. Email in 1 business day, proposals in 48. Publish once, live always. Your silence between pings becomes trust because the clock speaks for you. Set agenda order that cuts theater. Aim, numbers, options, decision, assignments, next review, then stop. You invite dissent once, not forever. Facts outrank anecdotes, stories by entry, only if they produce a test. This is your evidence rule. When opinion dresses as truth, you ask for data, date, and owner. Without them, the claim waits on the curb. Build an escalation ladder anyone can climb and no one can game. Step 1. Reminder. Step 2. Written expectation with a date. Step 3. Reassign work or reduce access. Step 4. Replace. Announce it once and follow it every time. Dependence on you becomes safe because you are legible. Fear of you becomes clean because it is earned. Document like an accountant. Keep a decision log, date, choice, owner, deadline, risk. Next review. Keep a change log. What shifted, why, who is affected, by when. Store one canonical file per domain with version and day. Scope _V, 2.3 _14 May rules. Final _V7 real is exiled. When memory argues, you open the book. Arguments shrink. Output grows. Let symbols teach without speeches. Seating is choreography, not vanity. You take the chair with sightlines to the door and the board, your deputy within whisper distance, operators along your eye path, guests facing the decision line. Without a word, information rises to altitude. Time boxes are quiet iron. Every item has minutes posted before the meeting. When the bell hits, you decide or defer to the next window. Require one-page briefs as passports: context, options, cost, risk, recommendation. Version control prevents chaos. A number, a date, a steward. Edits route through the steward. Decisions reference only the latest version. The page itself becomes a guard. Dress the choosing hour with consistency. One simple form for decisive rooms. Clean and repeatable. Email brevity is discipline on the page. Subject lines carry verbs and dates. Bodies carry 3 lines: context, decision, next step. End with decision entered or awaiting your choice between A and B by Tuesday, 5 p.m. Crisis proves the rails. A production bug hits at noon. At 12:15, a 2-paragraph update. Issue, impact, mitigation, next update time. At 1, the next note lands on the minute. Teams that meet the frame regain speed. Those that ignore it feel their access narrow for a week. By sundown, the patch is out, the log is updated, and the release notes close the story. Respect is not applause, it is relief that your order works. Carry the geometry beyond work. Family dinner at 7 means plates at 7, phones in a bowl by the door, late arrivals wash dishes. Predictable benefit warm food, real talk, predictable cost, soap and sleeves. In time, admiration fades as a need and returns as weather. What remains is requirement. People route through you because outcomes are cheaper and safer that way. The calendar points to your windows. The documents carry your stamp. Meetings breathe in your rhythm. Opportunists peel away because the toll is real and immediate. This is obedience without humiliation. Useful, legible, costly to cross. Stop begging to be adored. Publish the benefit, post the cost, and keep both on time. Let policy carry your kindness and symbols carry your power. Decide quickly inside the frame. Delay outside it, make the arithmetic public. Then keep it, make it work on time or pay on time. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. You do not beg for obedience. You design it, you set the border, the clock, the cost, and the memory. 4 moves: signal, scarcity, sequence, sanction, run across every stage. Private, semi-public, public. Your words grow shorter as your structure grows sharper. People obey because the rails are visible, and the price of leaving them is paid on time. Signal comes first, frame before breath. You send agendas and outcomes in writing the day before contact. You define the decision owner, the time limit, and the evidence rules. Demo beats deck, signed memo beats chatter, dashboard beats vibe. You open rooms with the scoreboard, not the story. Script for invitation. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, 10:30. Goal. Approve pilot scope. Evidence, last sprint metrics and risk register. Decision owner, Sarah, speaking order. Presenter, clarifiers, objections, decision. Script for the first 10 seconds. Scoreboard on screen. Goal, risk, date. We will end with names and next steps. Checklist, agenda posted. Owner named, evidence stated. Time box set, cue tool, linked. Calibration by arena. Private tone is coaching. What result do you own by Friday? And what proof will we see? Semi-public is charter. Per the cue, presenter completes before questions. Public is principle. We protect clarity and time. Jurisdiction seized. Arguments shrink. Scarcity protects the gate. Your calendar is a fortress with 2 bridges. Reply windows at noon and 5. Everything else waits. Urgency must pay to enter. The toll is specificity. Script for gate. Reply windows 12 o'clock and 17 o'clock. Urgent items must name decision owner and consequence of waiting. You cap meeting lengths, 30 minutes default, 45 only for final approval. You limit access tiers. A gets fast lane, B standard, C discovery only until reliability is proven. Checklist. Reply windows posted, caps declared, tiers defined, emergency route documented. Calibration by arena. In private you explain the logic once. Windows protect delivery. Semi-public your proxy repeats it. In public it appears as banner text. Scarcity is not stinginess. It is the price that makes chaos too expensive to attempt. Sequence makes order beat volume. Decide, document, discuss. You do not wander toward decisions. You arrive, then explain. At minute 9, you call the decision. At minute 10, you document. Only then do you invite brief objections. Minutes go out within 1 hour. After every meeting, you push 1 metric, 1 date, and a single artifact. Script for close decision. Approved pilot, metric, week 1 activation. Date, October 20th. Artifact signed pilot brief. Owners Kamal QA, Aisha build, Farid report. Next checkpoint, Tuesday 10 o'clock. Checklist outcome line. Metric, date, artifact, owners checkpoint. Calibration by arena. Private you write the summary yourself. Semi-public your lieutenant does it. Public it posts to the channel with the policy number. Talk becomes trackable steps the moment memory hardens into paper. Sanction is lawful, calm, certain. You enforce a ladder, private correction, public clarity, removal of privilege without heat. First rung, private, you broke the queue. Remedy, resubmit with checklist by 10 o'clock. Standard review Friday. Second rung, public clarity without names. Speaking order remains presenter. Clarifiers objections, violations move questions to written form. Third rung, removal, per section 3. Priority speaking requires adherence. Your slot shifts to written submissions for 2 sessions. For repeated breach or disloyal recruitment, the memo is precise. Per 4.2, unauthorized disclosure. Ends access effective immediately. Review concludes Friday. Checklist clause cited, timestamp, remedy or consequence. Next review date. Calibration by arena. Private is coaching tone. Semi-public is proxy delivery. Public is principle plus written consequence. Deterrence grows because certainty replaces theater. Scripts encounters keep altitude while closing doors. Flattery, appreciated. Let's anchor to the metrics. Guilt. I keep promises by not adding new ones midstream. Choose A next cycle or B trade scope. Urgency theater. Name the decision owner and the consequence of waiting. With both I'll open the fast lane. Vague ask. Put it in writing with deliverable and date. Scope creep outside charter. Options are pilot next week or full build next month with budget locked. Endless debate. We're past discovery. I'll publish the decision at 16 o'clock. Passive aggression. I don't interpret. I schedule, submit the artifact by noon. 3 lines for exits. This left the agenda. Send 2 bullets. Reply at 5. We are done here. Decisions captured. Walk me to the door with 1 request. Run the system in 3 arenas. Private. A valued engineer pings at 22:30 with urgent adjustments. Gate holds no owner named, no consequence stated, therefore not urgent. You reply at noon, non-urgent. Review today at 17 o'clock. Decision Friday. The message is not cold, it is constitutional. Semi-public, arrival performs expertise mid-review. You pause, look at the clock, and let the proxy deliver the norm. Presenter completes. Questions follow the cue. You say one word, proceed. You end on time. Minutes go out with the speaking order in bold. Public, a trader posts clip screenshots. You publish the full recording with timestamps, cite the clause, remove access, and schedule a charter refresher. No rage, only rails. Checklists compress nerve into habit. Before contact, goal, owner, evidence rule, time box, speaking order, late input rule, document link. During contact, timers visible, pauses held, cue enforced, moderator empowered, one metric, one date, named. After contact, minutes within 1 hour, artifact attached, owners tagged, checkpoint scheduled. Weekly tightening, turn one screw, never three, shorten a time box, clarify a clause, merge two templates. Too many screws signal panic, one signals control. Psychology is the true field. Signal calms uncertainty. People obey what they can see. Scarcity teaches fairness. Everyone pays the same toll to reach you. Sequence cures anxiety. Decisions stop floating, they land and stick. Sanction creates memory in the muscles. Behavior changes because the latter is predictable and short. Over weeks, people shape their requests to your windows, wear your format like uniform, and police each other to win the fast lane. You speak less and get more, because the frame earns the fear and the cadence earns the trust. Two short parables. Startup. You publish noon in 5 windows, the change order template, and the 1 hour minutes rule. Within a month, midnight pings vanish. Scope drift becomes a budget conversation, and ship dates stop slipping. Community board. You open with the scoreboard. Agenda, decision owner, evidence rule, and enforce proxy corrections. Disruptors tire when applause doesn't buy time. Minutes land by dusk. Neighbors who hate drama still love clocks. If you stumble, you pay the tax and continue. Skip the frame, begin the next meeting with a ritual drill. Break your window, announce the exception, and revert tomorrow. Miss the minutes, spend a Saturday hour backfilling and publish a 5-question FAQ. The crown is not a feeling. It is a schedule that survives your moods. Instant obedience is not magic, it is physics. Bodies follow rails, eyes follow clocks, egos follow prices, and crowds follow paper. Choose your 4 moves each morning: signal, scarcity, sequence, sanction. Then let the system, not your temper, do the heavy lifting. Quiet grows thick. Respect gets practical. The room learns your borders, and order feels cheaper than chaos. Signal first, scarce time, strict order, certain consequence. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. You do not plead for peace. You construct it. When rules are visible and penalties certain, people relax because guessing dies. Fewer arguments, faster decisions, cleaner rooms. Obedience becomes quiet and durable, not because you raise your voice, but because your structure speaks before you do. The quiet dividend arrives first. Opportunities come earlier because standards carry the weight. A partner sends the brief while it is still clay, timed for your Tuesday review because Tuesday reviews are law. A recruiter forwards 2 exact fits, not 20 strangers, since your criteria are public and your interviews are clean. A client opens with fair terms, remembering the last contract was paid to the day and disputes were closed by the document, not by mood. Strong allies self-select. The frantic drift elsewhere. Your calendar breathes blocks with air around them. Early drafts instead of late emergencies. Fewer urgent pings that evaporate on contact. Order turns humane when it saves everyone time. Loyalty grows when each person is treated like an adult under the same code. Inside the team, the same math compounds. Roles are written, handoffs are drilled, decisions are stamped with owner, deadline, and definition of done. Meetings shrink because the agenda is a gate, not a suggestion. Disputes dissolve into facts because the record has a spine. You reward punctuality, precision, and clean delivery. The room brings them before you speak. People stop guarding their backs and start guarding the mission. You measure by completed loops, not heroic stories. Speed rises without smoke. Calm becomes the sign of real work. Then mercy with memory, forgive once in private, where dignity can recover. A teammate slips. You close the door, state the facts, and write restitution, narrower scope, new date, midweek checkpoint, signed, not performed. Later, you thank loyalty in public. You name the analyst who carried the numbers across the line, the assistant who kept the board packet flawless, the engineer who refused panic and shipped. Praise is specific, not syrup. It teaches the court what wins here, and you keep patterns on record. Not a grudge book, a risk map. Dates, misses, repairs, outcomes. When repetition knocks, you act without malice and without delay. Limit scope, move the seat, or end access. Grace rests on history, not hope. People feel safer because consequences are predictable and private, and safety produces performance. This pairing, warmth with edge, filters your alliances. Vendors bring clean drafts because the messy ones will not pass the gate. Partners route risk through you because your yes is firm and your no is brief. Colleagues surface bad news early because you cut, not flail. Respect stops being a performance and becomes a climate. The hall grows quiet not from fear but from form, not from silence but from schedule. Energy that once fed fires returns to building bridges. Now live above the weather. Picture storms outside. Notifications like hard rain, rumors like wind scraping glass. Inside, a steady corridor, agendas posted, clocks visible, outcomes on time. Each lantern is a ritual, morning list, midday triage, end-of-day audit, Friday reset. Entrances are measured, no request without an owner, a deadline and a clear definition of done. Exits are clean, decision recorded once, next step assigned, time-stamped, you answer on schedule, not on impulse, and the building learns your tempo. Weather comes and goes, the beams do not. This is the vision. Fewer arguments because the frame is real, faster decisions because penalties are known, cleaner rooms because records outvote rumor. You make disorder unprofitable and loyalty efficient. Keep the code visible, reward in daylight, forgive once in private, track patterns, decide when promised, let standards carry the weight and let your calm set the price of crossing you. Law first, voice second.